You know that feeling when you're standing in front of a piece of art and it's like it's trying to tell you something? Like there's a voice, a story, maybe even a secret in there meant just for you? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to explore. We're going to find out what happens when art speaks. Okay, so right off the bat, that sounds kind of like a riddle, doesn't it? How can a wall, a silent, solid wall, talk? I mean, it doesn't have vocal cords, it's not making any sound. So, how in the world does it communicate? Well, it turns out the answer is pretty incredible. Art has its own language, a really powerful universal language that doesn't need a single spoken word. And once we learn how to see the colors, the shapes, the emotion, that's when we can really start to understand what those walls are saying. All we need to do is learn the vocabulary. All right, so just like any language you and I speak, this visual language has its own rules, its own vocabulary. These are the basic building blocks that artists use to create meaning. So let's jump in and learn a few of these key words, shall we? Okay, first up, we've got the mural. Now this is one of the biggest ways a wall can speak, literally. Think about it. An artist takes a giant public wall and turns it into a massive canvas. Suddenly, there's a message that everyone can see, one that often talks right to the heart of a community's story or its dreams for the future. Next on our list is gesture. And when we talk about gesture in art, we're talking about so much more than just a simple wave hello. It's the slump of a shoulder, the tilt of a head, the way a hand reaches out. These are entire movements, frozen in time, and every single one is absolutely packed with emotion and meaning, all without a single sound. And that brings us to something really powerful, the symbol. Think about it. An artist can paint a dove, sure, but what they're actually saying is peace. It's amazing, right? One simple image can hold a huge, complex idea. It just shows you how incredibly efficient this language of art can be. Okay, so we've got some of the nouns of this language down: mural, gesture, symbol. But here's where it gets really deep. Where this language becomes truly powerful is when it starts talking about feelings. You know, the abstract stuff that's often the hardest to even describe with words. Let's take a big one, like compassion. It's not just one thing, right? It's got shades of meaning like kindness or empathy, and it has total opposites like cruelty or just cold indifference. Now here's the incredible part. In a single image, a piece of art can show us that entire spectrum. It can show us not only what compassion looks like, but also give us a glimpse of a world that doesn't have it. Okay, so we've got some of the basic vocabulary down. Now let's look at how artists put those words together to make sentences, and then paragraphs, and eventually a whole story. How do they take all these separate pieces and weave them together into something that really tells us a tale? It often follows a process that looks something like this. An artist might start with one powerful gesture, say a figure reaching out. Then they'll add a symbol to give that gesture a much deeper meaning. They'll put those things into a whole scene to give it some context, and boom, before you even know it, there's a whole story unfolding right there on the wall. But why tell these stories in the first place? Well, because these stories become our shared memory, our collective history. It's how we pass down traditions from one generation to the next. It's how we share ancient wisdom, create brand new legends, and maybe most importantly, it's how we connect with and understand our own deepest feelings. And this right here, this brings us to what might be the most powerful part of this whole language. See, art doesn't just tell stories about what's already happened. Oh no, it actively shapes our world right now and what's to come. It has the power to change the entire story of a society. One of its greatest superpowers, really, is making the invisible visible. I want you to think about all the problems that are easy to ignore. Things we might not see every day, like deep loneliness or the struggle of unemployment. Art can literally grab those silent struggles and slap them onto a giant wall for everyone to see. It creates this very real awareness and forces us to talk about it. It makes us pay attention. And the impact of that awareness? It's huge. It's absolutely immense. By dragging these issues out into the open, this visual language becomes this incredible tool for change. It can promote unity in a community that's been pulled apart. It can inspire hope when things feel really dark. And it can be a champion for the most important human values we have, from compassion all the way to freedom and equality. Okay, so we've started to decode the language, we've seen how stories are built, and we've felt its power. But what's the lasting message here? I mean, what happens after we've seen the art and walked away from the wall? Well, the really unique thing about this language is that its message isn't just a flash in the pan. It's not fleeting. It doesn't just vanish the second you look away. No, it takes root. It plants itself in your mind, in the heart of a community, and sometimes across an entire culture. See, a work of art doesn't just speak, it echoes. I mean, we all know what an echo is, right? It's a sound that keeps going, that repeats long after the original sound is gone. And that is exactly what a powerful piece of art does. Its message, its meaning, it just bounces through time from one person to the next, creating this incredible lasting legacy. And so, I want to leave you with this thought. Now that you have some of the vocabulary, now that you can see the structure of the stories, the next time you encounter art out in the world, the next time it speaks, what message are you going to hear echoing?